I'm Mike Ritter. I'm a deaf person, born deaf, and I actually am somebody who can use his own voice, and I work as an architect in a private business in the North Country, and I drove down to come to the meeting tonight. I'm involved in the community in many ways, and I feel it's important to give my time to help the deaf community, and I'm really happy to see all of you here tonight. There are some hard facts of life which I want to share with you. I had a tough time myself growing up. There were lots of things that I had to deal with. And I can't place blame on people who didn't have information and expertise. It was a lack of education about, in the community, in the mainstream community, about the best way to deal with deaf people. Outreach was weak, very, very weak. I think we have to, the deaf community has to really plead our cause. We have to let people know who we are. What you've heard tonight is really just the tip of the iceberg, let me know. It's great that we have the numbers here tonight that we do, but the people who are here represent a much, much wider and larger community that's out there and is not with us tonight. Not everybody knew about this meeting. Some people would be uncomfortable attending a meeting like this or were unable to get here. In my daily life, I see and confront all kinds of attitudes. And many, many, many people think of deaf as a dirty word. And that's a true fact of life. That's what the many, many people say. And again, I can't blame people. I just see this as a lack of education on their part. Even though this attitude among those people in the wider community hurts us in the long run. So I think that's all I want to say. Thank you for your time. My name is Joanna Rivera, and I I'm not a native New Hampshire person. I grew up in Massachusetts, and I moved in 2008 to New Hampshire. And one of the things I've noticed is that many, many deaf people here have brought up a lot of topics. And so I thought, why don't I come up and say a couple of things? I won't speak too long, but I wanted to talk a little bit about. I noticed that Massachusetts has group homes, and I actually worked in a group home for deaf individuals and hard of hearing people. I worked at the Learning Center for Deaf Children in Massachusetts, a school. There are many deaf services and many options for deaf and hard of hearing individuals in Massachusetts. And in New Hampshire, that list is very short. We have needs for access, we have needs for many, many, many services. We need health support, we need education support, we need more medical interpreters. We need sign languages being taught in the school. We need interpreters for hospital and doctor's offices. I wanted to share a recent experience that I had. I went to an IRS meeting, and my boyfriend, who was also deaf, was with me. And we went in, and I said, we're deaf and we need an interpreter. And they said, you need to bring your own interpreter, which was a surprise to me. And I've heard that before, but I didn't, they were expecting me to bring and pay for my own interpreter. I mean, I absolutely knew that this was not the law, and I informed them that it was not my experience. And I'm sure that many other people don't have that same kind of experience. So I said, I would like to have you make a request for an interpreter to Northeast Deaf and Hard of Hearing Services. And they said, well, we have our own interpreter contract and we will provide our interpreter. And I said, well, what agency do you work with? And they were unwilling to share that information with me. And I didn't expect it to be confidential or private. And I assumed that maybe they were working with Language Bank. And I didn't want to work through Language Bank. I preferred to get interpreter referral through Northeast Deaf and Hard of Hearing Services. Another experience I had was with Department of Health and Human Services. I wondered why they didn't have a staff interpreter at DHHS. People are familiar with, they have, the Department of Health and Human Services has services for low-income people. They have many branches and many divisions in their agency. And they have different interpreters who use many different spoken languages. So I thought, why don't they have an ASL interpreter located in their office? That was an idea I had. So thank you for listening to my comments.
Hello everyone, my name is Norman LaFawn. I am the former chair of the Board of Directors for Northeast Deaf and Hard of Hearing Services. I've noticed that Health and Human Services doesn't have full-time staff.
Let me say I get many phone calls from members of the deaf community who receive paperwork and written forms from DHHS. Many, many deaf individuals, because of the way that they were educated and the kinds of services that they didn't get, don't have great English fluency. And I realize there's nobody on staff at DHHS who can intervene and act as a case manager or a service provider advocate for these individuals who are being served by DHHS, but who cannot negotiate through the system or understand the paperwork. So I think that DHHS needs to have deaf people on staff who can function in the role of case manager advocate.
I would like to know if anyone from the invited guests have any questions tonight. Representative Harding.
I would like to know.
Hold on, let's pass the microphone.
My question is very basic. I found your stories very moving and compelling, and I'm a little embarrassed about what we may not have provided for this community. But I'd like to know why the contract went to Lutheran Social Services and when. Pretty simple question, but that seems to be the fundamental reason that we're here, and that might be something that, were we to understand that, we might have an opportunity to work with the department in the future on this issue.
The answer given is 2008.
No. Good evening, my name is Jennifer Jones, and I am General Counsel to a number of divisions in DHHS, including the Division of Client Services, who are the people that many people meet with in the district offices at DHHS, the Division of Family Assistance, who makes all the policy for our various programs, and the Office of Minority Health and Refugee Affairs. What we call the Communications Access Plan was an attempt about 3 years ago to unify across the entire department all of the various smaller contracts that had been used not just for access to the deaf and hard of hearing community, but also to non-English speaking communities. We have numerous divisions: Division of Public Health, Division of Children, Youth and Family, Division of Child Support Services, all sorts of different divisions, and each one of them had their own contract, and we were attempting to have one contract across the department. That's done the same way every other contract is done, which means a request for proposals is submitted, and people are allowed to put in their bids, so to speak, for the contract. Then that contract, or the bids rather, are weighted and evaluated and determine what organization can best suit all of the various needs that the department has.
Hold on one moment, please.
Sure.
And if you wouldn't mind backing up so people can see in the side.
Okay.
Thank you.
What I am hearing tonight is that what has served other communities is not adequately serving the deaf and hard of hearing community. And I want everybody to know that the department is taking that to heart, that we have heard what you have said tonight. We will be bringing that back to the department to see if either within that contract or within the RFP process, there is another way to better serve your needs. We have an obligation to do that. We take that seriously. I've heard tonight.
Thank you. People are saying thank you very much.
And you know, I've heard things tonight about access to either other programs or services that are not DHHS related, private doctor's appointments, the IRS, things like that. And certainly while those are important, they don't necessarily come within our purview. But I do want everybody to be assured that we certainly take this seriously and want to serve you the best we can. I also have, both Trini and I have taken very good notes about some of the other programmatic suggestions that have been made, and those will certainly bear greater investigation. I've heard about possibility of group homes, the possibility of better services for mental health access, for substance abuse and domestic violence access. All of those things, again, are things that are important for the community, and we want to make sure that we serve you the best we can.
This is a question for Jennifer, and I don't want to put you on the spot, Jen, but when do you think it's realistic that you can get back to this community with a little bit more information from the department about particularly the contract and the future of the contract and any other options that might be out there?
Well, I do want to make it clear, and clearly this isn't an option for everybody, but if anybody wanted to bring an interpreter to any meeting, they obviously have that right to. What we are talking about here today is the department's financing, so to speak, of that service for other individuals. I don't have a good answer for you. I would think that there were a couple of people who I actually identified tonight that I'd like to talk to a little bit more, who had some very specific experiences and had some issues that I thought, in talking about the unique needs of the community that maybe some interpreters aren't satisfying. And I'd be interested to know, for my own edification, what some of those unique needs are, because I think that's where the rubber meets the road, so to speak. But I can't say, but I can tell you it will be a priority, along with all of my other priorities.
Some of which we put on.
Does anyone else have a question for Ms. Jones?
Yes, there are a couple of people who have questions.
Can I say one more thing? Representative Harding, this is the
Tell me.
question.
Hold on a second.
Hi, so I'm Trinidad Tejas,